Hi YouTube, welcome to Wood Stuff Workshop. Today we're going to have a look at the Einhell Table Saw. Okay, so this is a new table saw that I've just got. It's a budget one from Einhell. It's model TC2025/1U. It cost me £99 plus VAT from JTF, which I thought was a bargain, and I just decided to get it just on the spur of the moment because I've already got a circular saw, but I used to always have two, so I always had another backup one, but yeah, just when I was out and about I see this and thought I'd purchase this as well. So I'm going to give you a quick review on it. To tell you the truth, when I took it out of the box, when I first got it back home, I was a bit worried because the body here is made of plastic. So it's got a just a plastic body, and then everything else is like steel. But the plastic body in the box, you could sort of twist it and buckle it in the box, but I did wonder whether when it was all together if it would make it more stable, and it did do that. So got it all bolted together how you should, got all the legs and the rails on, and it's all nice and steady now. So if you make sure that the feet are solid on the floor, and it's not twisting, then it's all okay. If it's all nice and flat, yeah, it stays nicely in position. So that when I got over that initial worry, got on with putting it together, and this is what I found. I've give it a test run, but I'll show you again in a while. So what I think about it is this, as well as this being a plastic body, like the adjustment knobs and things on here, they feel like a cheap plastic as well. But they work okay, but as long as the plastic's nice and rugged, but I would only know that after using it for quite a long time, but I think it'll be okay. It's probably tough plastic. So we've got these your adjustments, so you've got your height, and you can tilt at an angle obviously. So you push in the in this one, and it locates on these splines on there, and then you can turn it to whatever angle you want, and then you lock it off with this top screw there. There's a top screw. I'll show you closer in a while, but you lock it off like that once you've got it where you want it, and then you can obviously turn it, undo it again, move it again wherever you want. So you're pushing it in to turn the angle, and it's on a spring, so it springs back out. So turn it where you want and then lock it off. So the action of that feels okay. I did have to undo the spline bit there, and just undo the screws and just push it up a slight little bit, and then did the screws up to make it locate easier. So I did have to do that, but as soon as I did it, it was lovely. It has the on and off button there. It doesn't have the stop button that goes over a lot of equipment nowadays, the safety sort of stop button, but you still can knock this anyway. But the other buttons I think are for if you can try and knock it with a knee or something, but that's okay, there's no problem with that. So the rails and everything make it nice and solid once it's together. We've got this bed, and then you've got the extension tables here that you put on. fit on these. They're just pressed steel as well, and you put a level on there and make sure they're all nice and level, and then tighten all the bolts up. They're not bad at the moment, they're okay there. Over time they'll probably move, but if I added some spring washers onto the bolts, then they might hold a bit, you know, it'll stop it from vibrating. But yeah, in my work I use like really high quality table saws, the big old cast iron ones, and I've had a few different table saws in my years of furniture making and such like, and yeah, I just wanted another. I just thought it would be good to have another table saw. I was hoping when I got this, I don't know why I thought that this would come about, but I was wondering whether it would be quieter than the SIP circular saw that I've got further over across in the workshop. But as you'll see, it's not. It's no quieter. But shouldn't have expected it to be any quieter for the price, because remember, this is just a budget saw. So we've got the extension wings there, and we've got it's a pressed steel top, so it's not a cast one. Let me show you. I'll bring you in closer here, if the tripod lets me. Right, let's turn that like that. Is that better? So yeah, you can see this is a pressed steel top, which when I set it up, it is move this out of the way. It's pretty level. I've put a straight edge on and checked it. It's not as flat as a cast one would be, but then it depends how precise, you know, for like if you're doing unbelievably precise work, then maybe you would need something, you know, a bit more expensive. But it's okay for everyday cutting, you know, sizing of wood. So that's pressed steel, and your sliding mitre fence, there fits into the track there, and it's not a bad fit. I have heard people talk about this before, and they said that the fit of this was rubbish, you know, totally rubbish. But on a lot of my little saws that I've had before, it's about the same amount of movement in there. There's about, you can see that, there's just like a mil or so of play. But if you wanted to, you could just tighten that up by putting a bit of tape along the edge of that rail, and then you'll be able to get rid of the play in there. So when I put all this together and checked everything for square, it was unbelievable. It was nice and square. All the saw blade and everything was nice and square to the tabletop, and nice and parallel to the groove on there on the tabletop. So that was great. Didn't have to set that up. But if you do have to set it up, there's the screws. If you look in the manual, there's just the screws about where you loosen off, turn it to you can turn that to parallel, and then the screws on the front that you can move to get it all nice and square and true it all up. But yeah, it was all lovely and square. The fence on here, people have I have heard some people say that the fence is rubbish, because I've seen some people say these are good, and some of them say nah, they're no good. But the fence on here, I was expecting it to be worse than what it is. People have said, oh, there's loads of play in the fence on here, and if I lock this off, that is not bad at all. But that, you know, you've got to press quite a bit on there to make this move. Obviously over time things will probably wear and get, but that is not bad, because when you're ripping wood, you should only be putting a slight bit of pressure on the side. Most of the pressure is feeding across the table, you know, to the back as you're ripping it, not into the side of the fence. So really that should just be a gentle pressure on the side of there, so it won't push it, you know, push it off being square. What I did find with the fence on here, that the fence was the other way round. These knobs there were on this side and this fence was on this side. All you have to do is undo these knobs, take the bolts out and feed them through the opposite side. So all you're doing is sliding everything off, swap it round and put it on this side, and then you've got your putting wood then against the fence on the right hand side of the saw blade instead of the left. It was set up on the left, and on all the saws I've ever used I've never ever done it on the left. I always do it on the right, and I think a lot of people would prefer to cut along the right hand side. So yeah, had to do that, but that's okay. The mitre fence, you might have to just true off undo the screw and just set the pointer to 0, you know, just to make sure, just get a square on there against your blade. But that's all nice, easy to set up. So I'll let you hear how loud it is now, or what you think of the sound on it. So let's switch it on. So this is starting up. So as you can hear, that is pretty loud. That's about the same sort of volume as my SIP saw. But if you're not doing cutting all day long, you know, for hours and hours on end, you shouldn't have too much problem with the neighbours. But yeah, one day I'll would like a nice saw. My saws at work, like it's like a whisper when they're running. But you can't expect a lot for £120 total. The insert, let me just switch that electric off again. Don't ever want to obviously put your hands near any blade rope with the power on. The insert in here, I did, because you can set this, because like when you get it will be a bit of a drop from the surface of the table to the insert, and all I did was I put some tape under the edges along this insert, just on the bottom of the plastic, and then put it back on just to raise it a little bit, to get it, you know, a bit higher, try and get it more in line with the surface. And I'll just try it at that. If it needs any more, I'll just put a bit more in, but that's not bad at that. But if you get too much of a drop, you see, when you're pushing your wood through there, it drops down into the insert and it's hard to push it out at the back. So that's why I did that. So that's just another thing that you might have to do if you decide to purchase one of these. Let me just take you off. Let's have a look. Let's just take this down. I'll show you around. Right, so there's a closer view of the control, you know, the adjustment on there. So there's the lock-in and the adjustment going along to do the angle. On this side there is these, there's a wing nut here that holds these spanners on. That's for changing the blades, and they fit all the bolts on, all these bolts on everywhere, so you can tighten them up now and again if you need to. But you can also fit a saw blade on there spare, or if you ever take that blade off, you can store it on there, which is pretty good. Let's go around here. On this side there is, I really should get a different camera, this is awkward. There's this to hold the wire, there's these bits there that you can wrap the wire around, and what's really handy, which is could be, is the push stick holder up here. So the push stick's up here, so you'll always know where it is. It's just on the left hand side. Move back up, I'll just show you the back. The when you put your guard on, obviously that doesn't want to be too tight. Really, that shouldn't be sticking up there. I need to loosen that off a bit so it drops. You don't want it that loose that the knob bit ends up dropping off, but this is supposed to drop back down so that when you go through putting your wood, it'll drop. You get this hose for fitting onto the extractor, or a vacuum, whatever you've got. If you haven't got one, it does come off, and there's a plug that screws in the end here. So if you don't have extraction, it's not the end of the world. So that's fitted on there, and it comes round to the back here and it splits there. So this you fit your extractor onto there, or your vacuum, and that sucks it out for the sawdust from the blade, and obviously sucks through here from the guard at the top there as well, which is pretty good. But that's something on my wish list, to get a good extractor. It's got these are good. These are extension for additional legs, that's what they call them. But what I found is because I've seen somebody else mention about them, and they said that they're probably for the table to stop it from tipping over when you're putting wood through. But I found that what a really good function for them is as well, is that if you lift the table up at the front to drag it out, it sort of glides on these, because it'll tip up, lift the legs up and rest on the back here, and it just glides along, you know, so it makes it easier to drag the saw out, which is really handy. So it stops the feet from sticking, the rubber end sticking on the floor, so that makes that really easy. So all I've got to do now is try and find a nice bit of space in the workshop for it, because you know, things are a bit tight in here. Put my saw, the other saw, over there, which was over here. So at the minute I've got this table saw up at the side here, but yeah, I'll have to sort out exactly what's going to happen. On the wings here, the fence, what is a bit of a shame is this rail doesn't carry on past on the extension parts, which means that when you slide your fence across, you can only go up to there, because you go off the end of the rail, which is a bit of a pain. If that had extendable rails, you could have got your fence right up to the side there. But saying that, there'll be ways around. You can do things. You could clamp wood across the end on there, as long as you make sure it's parallel, and use that as a fence, you know, for cutting the odd bit. But my plans are to try and extend this somehow so that it'll move along and you know, use up all that space in there. So that's something that I need to look at, but overall it's not bad for the money. I've done a couple of cuts. I'll show you from a video, because to tell you the truth, I was videoing this a bit earlier, and but the camera was going all out of focus all the time and all sorts. But I'll get the clips from there of cutting, doing the rip and the cross cut, because and it did a nice rip, and it was all lovely and square, and the same as the cross cut. The cross cut was great. Okay, you might be able to hear the rain. We've got a little bit of rain coming there. Okay, let's give this a go. Oh, blimey. I think we might have a little bit of a shower going on. Right, let's have a look at this cut. That's nice, 60mm each way. Let's have a look. It looks nice and square on there. On there. Yeah, that's not bad. Square on there. So the cut's not bad. Yeah, that's good that way. So it's not bad for a budget table saw. And even though I had concerns over the body being plastic, when it's sat nicely on the floor, that's not a problem anymore. So we've got this is fitted with a 250mm blade, tungsten carbide tip blade, with it's 24 teeth on it, and it's got a 85mm height when it's in the vertical position. It's supposed to raise up to 85mm, but I think it's not bad. So I hope you found this useful. It's the Einhell TCTS 2025/1U. That's the model, and they're available in, I got this from JTF, but I do see that Toolstation and Machine Mart sell them. So they're still going, still available. So thanks for watching the video. Please subscribe. You can find me on Instagram as well, Wood Stuff Workshop. So thank you for watching, and I'll catch you again next time. Take care.